name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 1941 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, Lawrence County. Um, I was placed in a shack with people who were monsters. There's no other word for it. What happened to me? Uh, the family. This is the family here. This is Lina. The little girl in the middle is me. This was made in 43. I was brought and dropped off there in 41. I was born in 39, so I was 2 years old. I was given the name of Lina Dempsey's twin. She had twin, not her twin. She had twin, a boy and a girl, Carl and Peggy Dempsey, born out of wedlock. This family covered up. She murdered them both. It's how she did it also that's so hideous, the one, Peggy, the female. But the family all knew it, and this woman, after I had run in a political campaign, I'd written a book, and as a result, I had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of 79, from William Harper, U.S. Attorney, ongoing investigation, national security involved. Even with all that, and I put this on YouTube in the past and on Facebook, I had antifreeze put in me on April Fool Day of 80. I knew nothing about being kidnapped. I've been told that I did know it subconsciously. I always knew who I am. But I only found out in 83 after I was flown out to Larry Flint's in a political campaign, and the Brits told me. So they gave this woman right here, Mrs. Ezra Carter, Annie. Absolutely, when I had the Hustler magazine on me, and he had furnished me a car Mr. Flint had for a year. I went by Annie Carter's up in Carlisle, Kentucky. Thank God the sheriff and law enforcement there were the good guys, and they were on my side, which I haven't committed a crime. I might say this right at the moment. This family could have told the truth. They helped this woman, Lina Dempsey, try to kill me using the mental health system to shut me up because they were afraid. I didn't know it at the time till 83. I knew something was wrong with the way I grew up. But it was 83 when I found out the truth about it. And I even confronted Annie Carter. She's next to the baby. And she admitted it all. Admitted that's because I had the Hustler and the car, the Hustler magazine, and the bell system, telephone system had come in and gone under her house for 2 weeks, and she didn't know why. Now, if I'd said something like that, they would have called me paranoid or something. But she can say it happened. But her thinking was that somebody come in ahead of me, and I don't doubt it, and was recording everything that was said. But anyway, later, when I was dumped back out on the street, and Larry Flint was locked up in Butner and his power of attorney taken from him, so I was back on the street with horrible begging for a job, a place to live, getting beat up. The law didn't work for me, and the people certainly didn't. So this family, first of all, should have reported the crime. They all went to church, and this one, her name is Jean. She's the baby here. She was the one that got my phone number last year about this time, a little later, and she called me, and she was saying something about inviting, like she's being nice and inviting me back down there to Moulton and that surrounding area. And I said, I told her, I said, well, Gene, she knows the situation I'm in. I'm sure she's seen the YouTube and everything by now, the videos. But she knows the situation where I've been kept penniless and moved around and what's happened to me. And she made it sound like, after I thought about what the conversation entailed, like she was inviting me, being nice. Will you come back down here and she was still saying to your kin. And I told her, I said, no, Jean, I'm not. And she knew, had been told, I know by then. And anyway, I could go on and on, but the family knew it. And I told her, I said, well, Greyhound only come. Well, I didn't intend to go anyway because they scare the hell out of me. But the Greyhound only goes to Huntsville, not Decatur, not on into Moulton. So I had no transportation. And I did tell her that, and she knew it. Later, well, you know, it's dropped. Yeah, I'm supposed to come down there on what and get there on what and live on what. So it was a lie, the asking me to come down. Later I found out she had a daughter, and I conversed with her a few times on texting and photos, that lives in Decatur. One of the cousins that would have been my cousin, had I been Peggy, even had a home that she's lived in and owned in Florence, Alabama. Her mother lived with her till she died 12 years. She lives alone. She knows my situation. The only thing she said to me, and I really liked her, I remembered, had fond memories of her as she was a kid. And her remark to me, and it was kind of cryptic, but knowing what's been going on, she said, I don't want to lose my license. She's a health nurse or works in that area, but I think she's retired. But anyway, I never heard from her again, so she had a home. So all these people in that family have nice enough homes, and yet not one of them has dared to tell the truth, has called me other than to find out what was going on, okay? Now I wanted to say this part. I wrote about mind-control murders. Before I found out about being kidnapped, I'd worked for doctors. Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, physician at Piedmont Hospital, urologist, was one of the doctors I wrote about. I wrote, it was pretty heavy stuff, connections to Center for Disease Control, Emory University, etc. And as a result, I thought that was the reason, and part of it was I had the antifreeze put in me and should have died April Fool's Day of 80. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville while I was doing the book in Marietta, Georgia, and his attorney was killed, and he was shot. And he flew me out there when Larry McDonald's plane was shot down by the Korean. It veered into Soviet airspace, or Russian, August the 31st of 83. He flew me out there and even says in this endorsement that I knew who was responsible for his killing, and they made a pauper out of me. Now, I'd like to say this. I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace and made a pauper, brought to live a life that most people can't even have never seen here in this country. I was born probably at the time the richest woman in the world, Victoria II. My father's Edward VIII. He never married Wallace Simpson. She married a double. This is my grandfather, George V. And this is Elizabeth's father, George, the illegal George VI. 1939 with Roosevelt, the year I was born. He helped the Illuminati, Freemasons, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. Joe Kennedy had been appointed ambassador to England by Roosevelt. So it was all well orchestrated. They took down my father, a decent, wonderful man, and the lies and the books that have been printed that are totally lies. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Madison, Wisconsin, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. Now then, this woman has never tried to make amends. She's been right through here back when the murders at Virginia Tech happened, and I'm living on the Appalachian Trail, starving. My job shut down. I got a target on my back, all right? I'm a hostage, really. So they've come and gone, and they don't even acknowledge me. And there's a 99-year seal put on my father's forced abdication and the addendum to it all